Hello humans, welcome back to Sylveon Explains, where I dress up in my cute little Sylveon costume and explain some weird piece of media that exists that I think more people should know about. So let's get straight into it. Today we are talking about Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is my favorite anime of all time, and we are talking about the Lost musical, which is about zombies. Yes, you heard me right. This musical is literally translated as Revolutionary Girl Utena, Rebirth from Hell Apocalypse Saga, Advent of the Beauties Nirvana. That is the whole title. I don't know who named this or chose that name. It's also usually shortened to Revolutionary Girl Utena, Hell, Rebirth, Apocalypse, Advent of the Nirvanic Beauty, which if that's the shortened version, it's not much better. It's still long. But anyway, I am just going to be referring to this as the zombie musical, because that's what it is. This is a zombie musical. Why? I don't know. This was performed by the, oh boy. Okay, bear with me when I'm trying to read Japanese names, because I wrote down all my little notes and stuff. I looked up how to say some things, but my brain just doesn't process them very well, so I'm going to attempt to say this, but I will also put it on screen. The Geshoko Kagekiden, I think that's right. Geshoko Kagekiden Theater Company? I'm gonna hope that's somewhat right. There seems to have been 6 performances in May of 1999. The information on this is very vague and hard to come across, as there is like maybe 2 sources for this, and one of them was translated by a fan on one of the otori.nu forums way back in the day, which is where I got most of my information here, so thank you very much for translating that and finding that this exists. I will have it all linked in the description if you want to go read the original, because obviously if I just read the entire original post, we would be here all day. So I summarized it all up and made it into a fun little thing, and now I'm rambling because I am just being lazy trying to read my script. But anyway, this was in 1999. However, I did read one date that said it may have been 1997, but I wasn't quite sure about that. I think 1999 was correct. I think that the 1997 might have been referencing another musical from around that same time, but it wasn't very clear, so I just added in here just in case. This musical was produced by Ikuhara, who worked on the show. We all know him, we all love him. This is pretty much lost media, as I've mentioned before. There's no recording of it. There's no copy of the script or anything. There's like one photo of it. Basically, if somebody hadn't recounted their experience watching this musical, I don't think anyone would know it exists. Because there's just nothing. There's no like promotional material or anything, and I'm shocked that even though this was from like 20 years ago, that there's just nothing. Most of the plot information, as I said before, comes from that forum post, which I will have linked. A lot of the links in the actual forum post are broken or just don't really work or are in Japanese, so I couldn't really verify a lot of this information, so I am hoping that it is correct and that I am not just being lied to by the internet, which I have been known to fall for before. You know, if this whole musical is just some like big joke that exists, I think that would be so funny. If some troll on the internet just decided to go, hey, you know what would be really funny if we just made up a plot for a zombie musical for an obscure anime from the 90s, I think that would be very funny. There's a whole list of the main cast, which I will put up on screen. It was also mentioned that some of the actors were from the Sailor Moon musicals that were produced around the same time, which I think is very interesting. And I also want to cover some of the Sailor Moon musicals on this channel at some point. Anyway, let's get into the plot. This is the wild part. So the plot of this musical, I'm not going to explain the entire plot of Revolutionary Girl Utena. I highly recommend watching it. It's my favorite anime of all time. It does get quite dark, so if you're sensitive to things, I would recommend reading the trigger list before, because I know it exists, just Google it. But anyway, it starts off by basically following the plot of the show up to Utena dealing. I cannot talk today. I am so sorry. It starts with Utena dueling Saionji, obviously, all that. Then there is a time skip to her duel with Toga at the end of the first arc of the show. We don't get to see duels with Juri and Mickey, unfortunately, which makes me sad. Or Nanami, for that matter, because she does exist in this musical. She is mentioned. Now, here's where it gets wild. So during this duel, some sort of dark force, which is referred to as Osiris, the Egyptian god of the underworld, I couldn't figure out if this character was actually named Osiris or if that's just what it was based on, but I am just going to be referring to it as Osiris. He resurrects the boys who died in Nimura Hall as zombies. So the Black Rose arc is kind of starting during Utena's duel with Toga. But Mikage doesn't exist in this one. Mamiya doesn't exist in this one. No, we're getting Osiris, an Egyptian god, resurrecting dead people as zombies. Yeah, But anyway, like in the Black Rose arc, the dead people, or in the anime, the duelists, are instructed to kill Anthy. So anyway, Toga is captured by Osiris and is given a power which is stronger than Dios's. The zombies kidnap Anthy. So Toga then challenges Utena and he wins. I wrote he win. I literally wrote he win. But anyway, Utena becomes sad, as she does in the end of the first arc of the anime. We see all of that. And then Akio appears much earlier than his first appearance in the anime. He shows up and convinces Utena to fight for Anthy with a motivating speech. Those were the exact words that I saw. A motivating speech. And at some point, he also encourages the other student council members to investigate what is going on here. Akio's motivation is odd during the first part of this. Like, obviously I know he's controlling everything in the background and stuff, but it's very odd that he's just like, hey, go investigate. Anyway, so Toga tries to offer Anthy to Osiris. Oh boy, human sacrifice. That's the note I wrote in my script. But Utena shows up and defeats him. Yay. Good. You would think that would be the end of the musical, right? She beats Toga, gets Anthy back, the zombies disappear, blah blah blah. But no, we're not done yet. The zombies then turn on Toga and he dies. He dies. He just straight up dies. And the rest of the student council shows up, but they also fall victim to the zombies as well. It seems to be implied that they're killed, but then they show up later on, like, getting treatment for their injuries, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, but it leaves Utena and Anthy alone against the zombies. Now here's the part that the fandom loves to talk about, because it is so iconic. Anthy pulls out a machine gun and starts mowing down the zombies, spraying the stage and audience with fake blood. I even found a note from the fan who recounted all of this, that they were given a sheet of plastic to shield themselves. I want to know whose idea it was to make an Utena musical with zombies where they spray the audience with fake blood, because that is hilarious. And once again, it's just going on with my theory that this is just all some big internet troll thing that I just am not aware of. It's so funny. I wonder if the machine gun, I did write a note about this, if it's a reference to Ikuhara's original ideas to have the duels use guns instead of swords. The swords definitely work better, but maybe giving Anthy a machine gun was a little reference to that. I still just can't get over that. It's... why? Why does this exist? Anyway, it's then revealed that Akio had planned the whole thing, of course, to restore the power of Dios, and Anthy was aware of this plan the entire time. And everyone other than Toga survived the zombies, as I mentioned earlier. Then it heads back into what is the fourth arc of the anime, where Utena faces Akio and is then stabbed in the back, literally by Anthy. But, here we go again. Once again, you think it would end there. You would think it would end with how the anime ends, but no. Here we go again. When Akio opens the rose gate, the zombies return. They swarm out and kill him. And when Anthy and Utena reach for each other's hands, like in the final episode of the anime, they are swarmed as well. And it's presumably that they died, but it's also kind of implied that that's how, like it is in the anime when they get stabbed by all the swords. And the final scene reflects the ending of the anime, with Anthy leaving the school on her own, so it's obvious that she survived the zombies, so... I don't know. This is wild. And I had to put in this one paragraph from the translation because I thought it was so funny. And this is basically how I feel about so much of this musical. Sorry, I'm holding this up so I can actually read this. Unlike the original, people get cut up indiscriminately. Perhaps I should say sliced up. Utena and Toga get injured badly, and though they should be on the verge of death, they just keep fighting as they are. The student council members who I thought had died later get treatment and revived too. I'm really wondering about Mickey, who somehow survived getting his throat slashed with blood flying everywhere. Why? Just why does this exist? Does this exist? There's a picture from it. I'm still not entirely convinced this is real. Like... There was also some comments from this fan about the actresses. They say about Utena, her hair is short, but her Utena is solid. She really got into the role of a tomboyish girl. I'm assuming it's her specialty. I found the comment about her hair interesting. Does it mean that she had her movie hair? Or maybe it's just a bad translation, but I would love to have seen short hair Utena in a musical. That's so cute. About Anthe, they mentioned she turns away when she sees Toga putting moves on Utena and even kicks Utena from behind when she's dithering over him and knocks her over. To top it off, she smiles and says, "I am your bride." I love sassy Anthe, and the fact that she just kicks Utena for flirting is so funny. They also make comments about Toga, Akio, and Nami, but nothing too significant. They seem to be the characters that stood out the most, I am guessing. So, sorry Juri and Mickey, I guess they don't deserve comments. Other than that comment about Mickey getting his throat slashed. There was also a comment about one of the actors who played a character called Marshak, which I think this is interesting because it gives us a new character name. Marshak does not exist in anything else, so I'm curious if this was the name of the villain possibly, or one of his underlings or something. I couldn't really find any more information about that, so it was just a very interesting comment. Unless that's referencing another musical that this person was in, but I couldn't find any information on that, so who is Marshak? Someone tell me. I did find one criticism from this fan where they said, "I have fears that the inner workings of Utena and Anthe's hearts was not sufficiently expressed. Neither has any subtext with Akio, so in that respect, the tension between them cannot be seen. That might make it difficult for those who haven't seen the TV series," which I think is understandable. Obviously, making an entire anime and then adding in zombies into a 2-hour musical is very difficult, and you do miss out on a lot of the subtext and stuff, so I think that's probably a valid criticism. Now, let's talk about the one picture that exists from this. And this is the only proof that we have that it exists. There is a photographer named Hamaguchi Futoshi. I think I actually said that one right, yay. Who worked with the theater troupe. And there are photos that seem to be of the musical and the actors at the time. I will put them on screen here. 3 of them just kind of seem to be of actors that I'm assuming were involved in this, but there is one that is very obviously, you can see Anthe in her rose bride dress and the chorus wrapped in these like cool gauze zombie things. So that is gotta be from this musical. There was also a broken link on the forums that apparently led to a low-res clip from a show by this theater troupe. There wasn't any more information given on that, and obviously the link was broken, so I couldn't look into it. I wonder if that means that there are clips from this out there somewhere, whether they are from rehearsals or if there's more pictures from backstage. I just can't believe that, like, more hasn't been found. Like, I get that it had a very short runtime, and obviously wasn't recorded or anything. This was back in the 90s. That wasn't really a thing that happened. But like, how are there no pictures or promotional materials? There's one photo and one fan account that this exists. How do we know that this is real? I still, I don't want to say that it's not real because I desperately want this to be real, but I just can't believe that nothing else has been found. There's got to be more pictures. There's got to be promotional materials. There's got to be more accounts from people who have seen this. Obviously, there's the language barrier, and it was 20 years ago, so it's very possible that people have probably just forgotten that it existed, but I desperately want to know more about this show, because it sounds insane, and I love looking into stuff like this. I love lost media, and Revolutionary Girl Utena is just such a good anime, and I need to see this musical. I need to know that this exists. I need to see a script of this musical. I need to see more images. I need to see the fact the audience was sprayed with fake blood. Oh, it's wild. It's wild. That's all I have to say. Anyway, that's it for today's video. This has broken my brain. Even just talking about this musical hurts my head. But I will be back with another video soon. And soon. Why did I say it like that? I'll be back soon. Bye, guys.